Hey guys, Master Studios here, how y'all doing? With Crystalized Part 2 rapidly approaching us and seemingly we're going to be able to see it next month in early October, in today's video I just wanted to go over something pretty interesting when it came to Crystalized because there are some things that I definitely hope we do see when it comes to the events of Part 2, but at the same time there's some stuff that I really hope we don't see during Part 2. And in today's video, I've compiled a list of 3 do's and 3 don'ts for Crystalized Part 2. Let's get into this whole thing. And in case it isn't obvious, I am going to have to spoil the current events of Crystalized as well as the most recent episode with a Sinister Shadow, which isn't out in English yet, but still I feel I need to bring that up. And let's begin. Also, potential spoilers for Part 2. Starting off with the do's, the first do that I have is this. Do bring back more characters. Crystalized has been doing this whole thing of it bringing back a whole bunch of previous characters when it comes to the show, mainly in the form of a bunch of past villains. And I'm hoping that when it comes to Part 2, we get a chance to see that, but with more of the heroes actually. We've already seen this so far when it comes to Nelson and Antonia coming back, as well as in the trailer we can see Racer 7, and Tommy Andreasen has even confirmed that Scott's going to be making a comeback, but I hope we get a chance to see more characters make a return when it comes to Part 2. Mainly stuff like more Elemental Masters, Vanya and the Ugly, and for me personally with the episode The Return of the Ice Emperor, hopefully getting a chance to see Akita finally make her return into the show. I just think that would be absolutely amazing to see, honestly. Another do that I have is this. Do tie up loose ends, and I'm not just talking about stuff that's going on when it comes to Crystallize. I'm talking about stuff that's going on over a lot of stuff when it comes to the show that we don't have that many answers on. One of the biggest things that I can personally think of is the deal going on when it comes to the T-Pop Tyran. This thing has been showing up a bunch all over in the wild right now of the show, but we haven't really gotten any explanation as to what's going on when it comes to this. And I hope we do get an explanation as to, again, just what's going on with that. As well as also some stuff during Crystalized. Mainly when it comes to stuff like Nia's powers, because I have a feeling we are going to see some more of that when it comes to the rest of the season. As well as also some stuff when it comes to Prison's storyline and the new ninja. Speaking of which, actually, the last do that I have is this. Do wrap up the prison storyline in a good way. I've said it before and I'll say it again, but I think that when it comes to prison storyline, when it comes to Crystalized, it is one of the worst parts of this season. It is so bad. I already made a whole video comparing it to Skybound's prison storyline, and in that video I explained how Skybound is a much better prison storyline than Crystalized has been doing. And honestly, I just hope that when it comes to this prison storyline, it's wrapped up in a good way. Ideally, with the mayor and just the other people in charge of Ninjago when it comes to law and stuff, they end up realizing that when it comes to Ninja, they are good people and they aren't criminals. And like the people, they definitely recognize this fact that again, the ninja are good guys, not criminals. So again, I just hope that by the end of the season, like the charges, they are all dropped and everything. And again, the ninja are no longer declared fugitives of the law. Now let's get into the don'ts. The first don't that I have is this. Don't rely too much on the Garmadon comics. For those of you who don't know, recently we've been getting this string of Garmadon-centric comics when it comes to Ninjago, which basically tells the story of Garmadon and everything that he's gone through after the events of Season 10, and it basically explains just where he's been during the Wild Brain era of the show. And something that I hope we don't get when it comes to Crystalized is the writer's over-reliance on the Garmadon comics. Like, they would have expected us to have read these comics in order to understand stuff going on when it comes to Garmadon in this season. Because if they do, I'm not sure if that's going to be the best idea, because this means, like, again, you'll need to just get this completely other thing in order to fully understand the story as to what's going on when it comes to the show. And again, I just hope they don't do that sort of thing, because it can make things really confusing, especially for people like me who just haven't read the Garmadon comic. And just again, I just hope that we can purely understand what's going on with Garmadon without having needed to read the comics before this. The second don't that I have when it comes to Part 2 is this. Don't undo Lloyd's development. This is something that I'm honestly really worried about when it comes to Part 2, considering the fact that, you know, Harumi is back during the events of Crystalized. Pretty much really, ever since the Wild Brain era of the show started, like, Lloyd's basically just been going through the story arc of him just trying to move on from Harumi and get over her. And we've been seeing that a lot, again, when it comes to the Wild Brain era of the show. And it's gotten to the point that, honestly, now when it comes to the show, I feel like Lloyd's just finally gotten over Harumi and moved on from her. And again, I'm genuinely worried that when it comes to Crystalized, they're basically going to undo all that and just do something where Lloyd, like, tries to get back with Harumi and everything. And just, again, I really hope they don't do that, because, again, all of Lloyd's growth and development that he's gone through ever since the events of the Ice Chapter, just all gone in an instant. And honestly, I think that would be a really, really bad move on the writer's part. And I've already seen some people get confused about this, because when it comes to the most recent episode, A Sinister Shadow, they say that when it comes to Lloyd, he says that he still has feelings for Harumi, but that's not actually true, because when it comes to the translation, no, Lloyd says that his feelings for Harumi were genuine, and like I said during my review, that means that when it comes to Lloyd, he had feelings from Harumi, but he doesn't anymore. And again, that makes sense considering how much growth and development he's gone through in recent years and everything. And again, if they end up doing something where like Lloyd tries to like redeem Harumi or like tries to get together with her, again, like I said, years of growth and development that Lloyd has gone through when it comes to the show, all gone in an instant. And finally, the last don't that I have when it comes to part 2 of Crystalized is this. Don't redeem Harumi. This is by far the biggest don't that I have when it comes to part 2 of Crystalized. Because honestly, I think that the idea of Harumi getting redeemed or going through some kind of redemption storyline would make absolutely no sense when it comes to Harumi's character. All throughout the events of seasons 8 and 9, Harumi has been presented to us as an evil sadistic killer who finds joy in people's suffering and who cares about no one other than herself. And like I've said on multiple occasions, when it comes to Harumi saving those 3 people right before she died, it completely goes against her character and it doesn't make any sense at all. And in fact, when it comes to the most recent episode, A Sinister Shadow, even shows that even though Harumi did save those 3 people, she didn't change. She is still a terrible and horrible person. So just, again, it makes me wonder even more, why have that scene included at all? And again, I just really hope that when it comes to this whole thing with Harumi, again, she isn't redeemed, and instead the writers just go in more with the idea of her being just a terrible and horrible person. Basically showing that when it comes to this whole thing, when it comes to Harumi, she's someone who cannot be saved. She cannot be changed or altered at all. She was a horrible person during seasons 8 and 9, and that's who she is now. Harumi has made her bed, and now she has to lay in it. And again, if they go with this route, and I have a feeling that we could end up getting some more good stuff when it comes to Lloyd's story arc of him just getting over Harumi, with him realizing, again, Harumi can't change, and like Lloyd having an idea that he can save Harumi or redeem her is an idea that isn't going to work. And again, I just really hope they don't redeem Harumi. Or have her and Lloyd get together, because that would also make literally no sense because of their toxic and abusive relationship. And so that's pretty much all I got for you guys. So tell me down below, what do you guys think? What are some do's and don'ts that you guys hope we get a chance to see when it comes to part 2 of Crystalized? Tell me down below, and I hope you guys enjoy. Later, guys, this is Dimension Master Studios, signing off.